At 64, Isiah Thomas's life reads like a story of extraordinary talent intertwined with relentless struggle, a narrative that captures both the glory and heartbreak of one of basketball's most iconic figures. From a moment he stepped onto the court as a young man, Thomas showed a combination of speed, intelligence, and determination that was almost unmatched. Drafted second overall by the Detroit Pistons in 1981, he quickly became the beating heart of a team that would go on to define an era. Nicknamed Zeke by fans, Thomas carried the weight of expectation on his shoulders from the very beginning, and he rarely faltered. His court vision, dazzling ball handling, and clutch performances earned him a place in NBA lore, but the brilliance of his career also masked the personal challenges that would shadow him for decades. Thomas's rise was meteoric, leading the Pistons to back-to-back NBA championships in 1989 and 1990. He embodied the bad boys persona, tough, unyielding, and fiercely competitive. Fans celebrated him for his fearlessness, for never backing down in the face of giants like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. But behind the accolades and the championship banners lay a private struggle, one that rarely made headlines. The public saw a confident, brash leader, someone capable of taking over games with a flick of the wrist or a sudden burst of speed. Few saw the pressure he carried, the internal battle with expectations, criticism, and the constant scrutiny of both media and fans. The tragedy, in many ways, began when Thomas transitioned from the court to the front office, a phase of life that exposed him to new forms of adversity. After retiring as a player, he took on roles as a coach, executive, and commentator, each with its own set of challenges. The same determination that made him a star player now collided with the unforgiving nature of management, politics, and public perception. Decisions he made were dissected under a microscope, and every failure was amplified. For a man who had spent decades proving himself through action and performance, the sudden shift to evaluation and critique was a heavy blow. It's a difficult truth for anyone to face, but for someone whose identity had been built entirely on athletic excellence, it cut particularly deep. Health struggles compounded the personal and professional difficulties. Thomas, like many athletes of his caliber, had pushed his body to the absolute limit for years. The toll of injuries, surgeries, and grueling seasons eventually caught up with him. Chronic pain, mobility issues, and the psychological burden of past battles began to weigh heavily. Yet, even in these darkest moments, Thomas demonstrated the resilience that had defined his career. Friends and family recall a man who would not admit defeat easily, who would rise again each time life knocked him down. This resilience, however, came at a cost, a price measured not just in physical discomfort, but in the quiet loneliness of a life lived largely in the public eye, with few able to truly understand the depth of his struggles. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of Thomas's tragedy is the dissonance between public perception and private reality. To the world, he is a legend, a Hall of Famer, a championship-winning leader, a figure whose name is etched into basketball history. But privately, he has faced moments of doubt, isolation, and pain that no accolade can soothe. The story of Isiah Thomas is a reminder that heroism and vulnerability often coexist, that the most celebrated lives can conceal the deepest sorrow. It is a cautionary tale about the cost of greatness, the weight of expectations, and the human fragility that underlies even the most extraordinary talent. Today, as he navigates life at 64, Thomas's legacy remains intact, yet bittersweet. Fans remember the highlights, the championships, the dazzling plays that turned ordinary nights into legendary moments. But behind those memories lies a more complex narrative, a man who achieved greatness while grappling with challenges that few could imagine. It is this duality, the juxtaposition of triumph and tragedy, that makes his story so compelling and, ultimately, so heartbreaking. At 64, Isiah Thomas is not just a symbol of basketball brilliance. He is a symbol of resilience in the face of life's relentless trials, a man whose story demands admiration, empathy, and reflection. The tragedy of Isiah Thomas, then, is not merely in the hardships he has endured. It is in the awareness that behind every celebrated moment, there were countless battles fought in silence. His life reminds us that the path of greatness is seldom linear, that the brightest stars often burn against the darkness within. And for those who have followed his journey, the heartbreak is undeniable, because we see not only the victories, but the human cost of reaching the pinnacle of sport and life alike. It is a story that resonates, lingering long after the final buzzer, compelling us to acknowledge both the glory and the pain of a life lived in the relentless pursuit of excellence. Beyond the public eye, Thomas's personal life carried its own weight of sorrow and complexity. Relationships strained under the immense pressure of his career, with friendships tested and family ties occasionally stretched thin. The relentless spotlight that celebrated his achievements also magnified his missteps, real or perceived. Even a single controversial comment or managerial decision could dominate headlines, fueling speculation and criticism. For a man who had spent decades proving himself on hardwood courts, where performance spoke louder than words, this new reality was often unforgiving. The transition from celebrated player to scrutinized executive was a stark reminder that fame is a double-edged sword, one that can uplift as easily as it can isolate. Mental health, an often overlooked facet of Thomas's journey, became a quiet battlefield. The cumulative effect of public scrutiny, career pressure, and physical weariness brought moments of profound introspection and doubt. He faced nights when victories felt hollow, when past glories seemed distant and unreachable. Sports legends are often seen as invincible, yet Thomas's struggles serve as a reminder that vulnerability does not diminish greatness. It humanizes it. Those closest to him describe a man who wrestled silently with anxiety and the lingering echoes of a career defined by relentless competition. Even the applause of thousands in an arena could not erase the inner turmoil that sometimes threatened to overwhelm him. Financial challenges, while not headline-grabbing, also played a part in his late-life struggles. Like many former athletes, Thomas navigated the complex world of investments, endorsements, and post-career financial planning. Mistakes, bad advice, or unforeseen circumstances sometimes led to instability that contrasted sharply with the wealth and status often assumed by the public. The harsh reality was that athletic fame does not guarantee lifelong security. Coupled with health expenses and the cost of maintaining a lifestyle commensurate with public expectation, these financial pressures added another layer to the burdens he carried quietly. Yet, despite these hardships, Thomas's resilience continued to shine. He became a mentor to younger players, offering guidance rooted in the lessons of his own trials. His insight, honed over decades of high-stakes competition, proved invaluable to those navigating the volatile world of professional sports. He shared stories of triumph and defeat, of pain endured and wisdom gained, hoping to spare others some of the silent suffering he had faced. Through these acts of mentorship, Thomas found a new sense of purpose, transforming personal tragedy into an opportunity to influence the next generation positively. It was a form of redemption, a way to channel the weight of his experiences into something constructive and enduring. Still, the shadow of what could have been loomed large. Fans and historians alike often speculate on the additional heights Thomas might have reached under different circumstances. If injuries had been fewer, if management decisions had favored him, if the pressures of fame had been less intrusive. These reflections underscore the cruel irony of his journey. A life marked by exceptional achievement and simultaneous, often invisible, suffering. The tragedy is not simply in what he endured, but in the poignant awareness that life rarely balances effort and reward in a neat, predictable way. Today, Isiah Thomas stands as a complex figure, a man whose legacy is celebrated, yet whose story is tinged with sorrow. At 64, he embodies both the glory of his past and the quiet battles of his present. The basketball world remembers the championships, the electrifying plays, and the charisma that made him a fan favorite. But those who look deeper understand the true dimensions of his life. A narrative of brilliance intertwined with hardship, of public triumphs contrasted with private struggles, and of a human spirit tested relentlessly over decades. The tragedy of Isiah Thomas ultimately resonates because it is universal. It reminds us that behind every celebrated achievement, there can be unseen struggles. Behind every public persona, a private battle. His life challenges us to consider the cost of greatness, the weight of expectations, and the resilience required to endure when recognition alone cannot heal the wounds life inflicts. At 64, Thomas's story is both a cautionary tale and a tribute, a testament to enduring talent and tenacity, and a sobering reflection on the human cost of reaching extraordinary heights. As Isiah Thomas navigates life beyond the spotlight, the challenges he faces are no longer confined to the hardwood. The transition from celebrity athlete to ordinary man has been anything but easy. Fame, once a protective shield, now serves as a reminder of what was gained and what was inevitably lost. Social interactions are tinged with the echoes of his past glory, and every appearance in public carries the weight of expectation. Even casual conversations can evoke memories of the pressures, criticisms, and relentless attention that defined decades of his life. For someone whose identity has been so closely tied to performance and public perception, this adjustment is both subtle and profound. Health, of course, continues to be a central concern. The years of high-intensity play, injuries, and grueling training regimens have left lingering effects. Chronic pain, joint issues, and the occasional flare-ups of old injuries serve as constant reminders of a career that demanded everything physically. Beyond the physical toll, the mental and emotional aspects of aging weigh heavily. Thomas has spoken privately about the struggles with insomnia, anxiety, and the occasional sense of isolation. The same tenacity that allowed him to dominate on the court now drives him to confront these realities head-on. But the fight is ongoing. It is a stark illustration of the long-term consequences that professional athletes often face. Hidden from the public, behind a facade of strength and resilience. Family, too, plays a dual role in his life, both as a source of strength and as a reminder of sacrifices made. Relationships with loved ones have been tested over decades, with the intensity of his career often placing strain on personal connections. Yet, amidst the challenges, Thomas finds moments of profound connection. The bonds forged through shared history and mutual support provide an anchor in turbulent times. These relationships are the quiet victories of his life, subtle and unheralded, yet crucial in helping him navigate the complexities of aging and fame. His experience illustrates that while public adoration fades, personal bonds remain the most enduring source of meaning. Thomas's legacy, as it stands today, is both celebrated and scrutinized. Younger generations of fans may know him only through highlights or historical retrospectives, yet his influence is enduring. Coaches, players, and analysts continue to cite his strategic thinking, leadership, and competitive spirit as benchmarks for excellence. His story serves as a lesson in resilience, showing that the pressures of greatness are not limited to performance alone, but extend into the very fabric of personal life. The tragedy of unacknowledged struggles is counterbalanced by the admiration of those who understand the full breadth of his journey. Moreover, Thomas has embraced opportunities to give back, transforming personal adversity into mentorship and advocacy. He participates in programs aimed at guiding young athletes, emphasizing not only skill development, but also the importance of mental health and personal growth. Through these efforts, he imparts the hard-won lessons of a life marked by highs and lows, victories and heartbreaks. This work is a testament to his enduring character, a man who, despite personal and professional challenges, seeks to uplift others and shape the next generation. It is perhaps in these quieter acts of influence that his most lasting impact will be felt. Yet, the shadow of his personal trials remains ever present. Reflections on missed opportunities, career disappointments, and the harsh realities of fame continue to surface. Thomas's life story is a mosaic of contrasting experiences, exhilarating triumphs alongside private pain, public accolades overshadowed by personal challenges. The juxtaposition of these elements defines the essence of his journey. It is this complexity that resonates so deeply with fans and observers alike, reminding us that the human experience, even for those who achieve greatness, is never straightforward. As he moves forward, Thomas's narrative embodies the resilience of the human spirit. At 64, he stands as a symbol of both the glory and the cost of a life lived at the highest levels of sport. His story is a meditation on perseverance, identity, and the enduring consequences of a career built on extraordinary talent and relentless drive. Through triumphs and tragedies alike, Isiah Thomas remains an emblem of determination, a figure whose life continues to inspire, caution, and captivate. The lessons of his journey extend far beyond basketball, offering insight into the universal challenges of ambition, fame, and personal resilience. As the years continue to pass, Isiah Thomas confronts the inevitability of legacy, not just as a basketball icon, but as a man whose life embodies both triumph and hardship. At 64, he is no longer defined solely by his explosive speed or precision on the court. Instead, he is defined by the sum total of experiences, choices, and sacrifices that shaped him. The world remembers his championships, his clutch performances, and the leadership that made him a Hall of Famer. Yet, Thomas understands that the essence of his story lies in the spaces between the highlights, in the struggles, the doubts, and the quiet battles that few witnessed. One of the most poignant aspects of this phase of his life is the way Thomas reflects on the pressures he endured. The weight of expectation, the scrutiny from fans and media, and the unrelenting drive to prove himself left indelible marks. Many young athletes view fame as a purely rewarding pursuit, but Thomas's journey reveals its hidden costs. He often speaks candidly about the emotional and psychological toll of years spent performing under constant observation. The victories, while glorious, came at the expense of private tranquility. The trade-offs between public acclaim and personal peace have become clearer to him with age, and they color the way he approaches life today. Health and wellness remain ongoing concerns. The decades of professional play have taken their toll, with lingering injuries, joint pain, and the cumulative effects of an intense athletic career. Yet, Thomas approaches these challenges with the same tenacity that defined his on-court persona. Physical therapy, disciplined routines, and a commitment to mental health are central to his current lifestyle. He speaks openly about the importance of preparing for life beyond sport, a message he shares with younger athletes to prevent them from repeating the same hardships he endured. In this way, Thomas transforms personal adversity into teaching moments, ensuring that the lessons of his life extend far beyond his own experience. Relationships continue to shape his narrative, offering both comfort and perspective. Friends, family, and former teammates serve as pillars, reminding him of the support networks that sustained him during his most challenging years. At the same time, he grapples with the complex reality that fame often isolates individuals, creating walls between public perception and private reality. The juxtaposition of admiration and loneliness, respect and distance, defines much of his current existence. Thomas has learned to navigate this delicate balance, finding solace in meaningful connections while maintaining the boundaries necessary for his well-being. Mentorship has become a cornerstone of his legacy. Thomas now dedicates significant energy to guiding the next generation of athletes, emphasizing not only skill development, but also the importance of resilience, integrity, and mental fortitude. Through storytelling, interviews, and personal guidance, he shares insights from a career marked by extreme highs and lows. His influence extends beyond basketball, inspiring young people to confront adversity with courage and persistence. In mentoring others, Thomas finds purpose and fulfillment, transforming the pain of past struggles into a beacon for those who follow. Yet, the shadow of regret lingers, a quiet awareness of what could have been. Injuries, career decisions, and the pressures of public life left certain doors closed and opportunities unrealized. Thomas reflects on these moments not with bitterness, but with a sober acknowledgement that life, even for the most talented, is often unpredictable. These reflections imbue his story with a sense of realism, offering a counterpoint to the mythologized version of his career. It is a reminder that greatness is inseparable from sacrifice and that the path to success is rarely straightforward. The culmination of Isiah Thomas's journey, a chapter defined not only by extraordinary achievement, but also by profound reflection. At 64, Thomas stands at the intersection of legacy and mortality, contemplating a life that has been both celebrated and scrutinized. The championships, the dazzling performances, and the leadership that earned him his place in basketball history are the milestones most fans remember. Yet, the true measure of his life lies in the lessons learned from adversity, the moments of quiet resilience, and the enduring impact he has had on those around him. In recent years, Thomas has become increasingly introspective, reflecting on the highs and lows that have shaped his existence. The glory of his NBA career, while monumental, is now tempered by an awareness of the sacrifices required to reach those heights. Relationships were tested, health was compromised, and personal dreams outside of basketball often took a back seat. Yet, he regards these experiences not as regrets, but as the necessary price of greatness. It is this perspective that defines the latter part of his life, a mature acknowledgement that triumph is rarely without cost, and that true resilience is forged through struggle. His post-retirement years have been marked by an active engagement with the sport he loves, but in a different capacity. Mentorship has become a cornerstone of Thomas's work, allowing him to guide young athletes through the same pressures and pitfalls he once navigated alone. Through one-on-one coaching, public speaking, and media appearances, he emphasizes the importance of discipline, mental health, and integrity. He shares candid stories of hardship, from career setbacks to the often invisible emotional toll of fame. These insights are invaluable, transforming his personal trials into a blueprint for others to avoid similar pitfalls. In this way, Thomas extends his influence far beyond the hardwood, shaping the lives of those who will carry basketball and its lessons into the future. Family remains both a source of solace and a reminder of the sacrifices his career demanded. Decades of rigorous training, travel, and media scrutiny left limited space for personal relationships at times. Now, Thomas places renewed emphasis on nurturing these bonds, cherishing moments with loved ones, and embracing the role of elder statesman within his family and community. These relationships provide grounding, offering a counterbalance to the public persona that has dominated much of his life. In these quieter moments, he finds fulfillment that trophies and accolades alone could never provide. Physically, Thomas continues to face the consequences of an intense professional career. Chronic injuries, lingering joint pain, and the cumulative impact of decades on the court are constant companions. Yet, he approaches these challenges with the same determination that made him a star player, through disciplined routines, therapy, and a commitment to ongoing wellness. Beyond the physical, Thomas confronts the emotional and psychological aspects of aging, acknowledging moments of loneliness, reflection, and even doubt. These challenges, while difficult, are met with a sense of dignity and perseverance, reflecting the depth of character that has defined him throughout life. Perhaps the most striking element of Thomas's story is its duality, a life celebrated in public, yet complicated and often painful in private. The public sees the legend, the championships, and the charisma that captivated fans. The private world reveals the quiet battles, the personal sacrifices, and the ongoing quest for balance. This juxtaposition makes his narrative profoundly human, illustrating that greatness is inseparable from vulnerability. It is this complexity that resonates so powerfully, offering inspiration, caution, and reflection to anyone striving for excellence in their own life. In the end, Isiah Thomas's story is a testament to perseverance, courage, and the enduring human spirit. At 64, he remains a symbol of triumph tempered by struggle, brilliance intertwined with vulnerability, and achievement accompanied by reflection. His journey underscores that the cost of greatness is often hidden behind the spotlight, yet the lessons learned and the wisdom gained are invaluable. Through mentorship, family, and personal growth, Thomas has transformed his hardships into a legacy that transcends basketball, a narrative that speaks to resilience, humility, and the profound impact one life can have on countless others. Isiah Thomas's tragedy is not one of failure. It is a story of enduring humanity. It reminds us that behind every celebrated figure lies a life of complexity, that the brightest moments are often accompanied by unseen struggle, and that the ultimate legacy is measured not just in accomplishments, but in the courage, empathy, and wisdom one imparts along the way. At 64, his life continues to inspire, caution, and captivate, a true testament to the enduring power of resilience in the face of life's relentless trials. Delves into the enduring legacy and ongoing influence of Isiah Thomas, highlighting the ways in which his life continues to resonate both within and beyond the world of basketball. Even at 64, Thomas remains a figure whose name evokes respect, admiration, and reflection. While the courts that once defined him may no longer feel his steps, the lessons he imparts, the stories he tells, and the mentorship he provides echo far beyond the arenas where he once dazzled fans. His story is no longer solely about athletic excellence. It is about resilience, leadership, and the human capacity to endure hardship with dignity. One of the most profound aspects of Thomas's current life is his role as a mentor and guide for younger generations of athletes. Having navigated a career filled with immense pressures, injuries, and public scrutiny, Thomas offers insights that few others could provide. He teaches not only the technical aspects of basketball, but also the mental and emotional strategies necessary to thrive in a high-stakes environment. Through personal coaching sessions, motivational speaking engagements, and media appearances, he encourages athletes to prepare for both success and adversity, emphasizing the importance of balance, perspective, and long-term planning. In doing so, Thomas extends his impact beyond his own achievements, creating a legacy that influences lives for decades to come. Beyond sports, Thomas's story resonates with anyone striving to overcome challenges or pursue excellence under intense scrutiny. His life exemplifies the complexity of human ambition, the thrill of victory, the sting of loss, and the subtle costs of relentless pursuit. Even outside the public eye, Thomas remains committed to sharing these lessons, whether through charitable endeavors, community engagement, or intimate conversations with those seeking guidance. The tragedy he endured, the isolation, the physical toll, and the private struggles, has been transformed into a source of wisdom and inspiration for others. His journey demonstrates that even the most celebrated figures must grapple with vulnerability, and it underscores the universal truth that resilience is cultivated through struggle, not ease. Family and personal relationships continue to be a central element of Thomas's life. Over the years, he has worked to repair and strengthen connections that were tested by the demands of his career. He has prioritized spending time with loved ones, nurturing meaningful bonds, and creating a supportive environment for those around him. In doing so, Thomas has found a sense of fulfillment and grounding that transcends the ephemeral applause of fans. These relationships serve as both a reminder of what truly matters and a source of strength as he navigates the challenges of aging, public expectation, and personal reflection. The broader public, meanwhile, continues to celebrate Thomas's legacy, often focusing on his Hall of Fame career, the championships, and the memorable performances that solidified his status as a basketball icon. Yet, the fuller narrative, one that includes his personal struggles, the sacrifices he made, and the resilience required to overcome adversity, adds depth and nuance to the image of Thomas. Understanding both the triumphs and hardships allows fans and observers to appreciate not only his talent, but also his humanity. It is this balance of brilliance and vulnerability that makes his story so compelling and universally relatable. As Thomas reflects on his life at 64, he is keenly aware that his influence extends far beyond statistics or accolades. The mentorship he provides, the lessons he imparts, and the example of perseverance he sets are perhaps his most enduring contributions. His story serves as a cautionary tale for aspiring athletes, a testament to the importance of mental and emotional preparation, and an inspiration for anyone confronting personal or professional challenges. Through his triumphs and tragedies alike, Thomas embodies the idea that true greatness encompasses not only success, but also the courage to face adversity with integrity and resilience. Serves as the culmination of Isiah Thomas's extraordinary journey, a final reflection on a life defined by both unparalleled triumph and profound personal struggle. At 64, Thomas's story is no longer simply that of an NBA legend. It is the story of a man who has endured the relentless pressures of public expectation, the physical toll of a career at the pinnacle of sport, and the emotional weight of private battles often hidden from view. The courts may no longer feel the rhythm of his movements, yet the imprint of his life resonates deeply, offering lessons in resilience, courage, and the enduring pursuit of purpose. Thomas's legacy is multifaceted. On one hand, the accolades are undeniable: Hall of Fame honors, championship banners, and the recognition of peers and fans alike. These symbols of achievement celebrate a career defined by vision, leadership, and exceptional talent. Yet, the true depth of his story emerges in the spaces between these triumphs, in the sacrifices made, the relationships tested, and the quiet resilience that sustained him through hardship. It is in these moments, often unseen, that the complexity of his life becomes apparent, revealing a man who embodies both brilliance and vulnerability. The later years of Thomas's life have been marked by reflection, mentorship, and an evolving sense of purpose. He has transformed the challenges he faced into lessons for the next generation, guiding young athletes not only in their athletic development, but also in navigating the emotional and psychological demands of professional sport. Through mentorship, public speaking, and community engagement, Thomas shares the wisdom gained from decades of experience, the victories, the setbacks, and the moments of profound struggle. These contributions extend his impact far beyond the game itself, ensuring that his influence endures in the lives of others. Family and personal connections have become increasingly central to Thomas's sense of fulfillment. After a lifetime spent balancing fame, rigorous schedules, and public scrutiny, he has prioritized nurturing relationships, creating meaningful moments, and cherishing the bonds that provide stability and joy. These connections serve as a counterbalance to the intensity of his career and the demands of public life, reminding him, and all of us, that true legacy is as much about the lives we touch and the relationships we cultivate as it is about achievements and accolades. Health and well-being remain ongoing concerns, a reminder of the physical cost of decades at the highest levels of competition. Yet, Thomas approaches these challenges with the same determination that defined his career. Discipline, routine, and a focus on both physical and mental wellness allow him to confront the realities of aging while maintaining vitality and engagement. These efforts highlight an important truth: resilience is not static, but a continuous process that requires adaptation, reflection, and commitment. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of Thomas's story is its universality. While the circumstances are extraordinary, the themes resonate broadly: the cost of ambition, the tension between public perception and private reality, the necessity of resilience, and the enduring significance of mentorship and relationships. His life illustrates that greatness is never without its struggles, and that even the most celebrated figures face challenges that are invisible to the public eye. In sharing both his triumphs and hardships, Thomas offers a narrative that is inspiring, cautionary, and profoundly human.